Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari Asodanandana Braja Janaranjana Sodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Jaya Radha Damodara Radha Damodara Shri Radhe, Jaya Radha Damodara Radha Damodara Shri Radhe. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. 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 Narayam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udiraye Nasta Prayasya Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavati Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhakti Bhavati Naistake. So today we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 5, Chapter 18, verse number 30. That's 5:18:30. Okay, looks like a prose verse. Om Namo Bhagavate Akupaya Sarva Sattva Guna Vishesanayanu Palakshita Stanaya Namo Varshmane Namo Pumne Namo Namah Namo Namo Vastanaya Namaste. Synonyms. Om, O my Lord. Namaha, respectful obeisances. Bhagavate, unto you, Supreme Personality of Godhead. Akuparaya, in the form of a tortoise. Sarva Sattva Guna Vishesanaya, whose form consists of Suddha Sattva, transcendental goodness. Anupalakshita Stanaya, unto you, whose position is not discernible. Namaha, my respectful obeisances. Varshmane, unto you, who, although the oldest, are unaffected by time. Namaha, my respectful obeisances. Bhumne, to the great one who can go everywhere. Nama, repeated obeisances. Avastanaya, the shelter of everything. Namaha, respectful obeisances. Te, unto you. Translation. Just give me 1 sec. Okay, translation. O my Lord, I offer my respectful obeisances unto you, who have assumed the form of a tortoise. You are the reservoir of all transcendental qualities, and being entirely untinged by matter, you are perfectly situated in pure goodness. You move here and there in the water, but no one can discern your position. Therefore, I offer my respectful obeisances unto you. Because of your transcendental position, you are not limited by past, present, and future. You are present everywhere as the shelter of all things. And therefore, I offer my respectful obeisances unto you again and again. Purport. In the Brahma Samhita, it is said, Goloka eva nivasatta kilatma bhuta. The Lord always remains in Goloka, the topmost planet in the spiritual world, period. At the same time, he is all-pervading. This paradox is only possible for the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is full of all opulences. The Lord's all-pervasiveness is confirmed in Bhagavad Gita 18:61, where Krishna states, Ishvara sarvabhutanam hridashe arjuna tishtati. Quote, the Supreme Lord is seated in everyone's heart, O Arjuna. End quote. Elsewhere in Bhagavad Gita 15:15, the Lord says, Sarvasya chaham hridi sanivisto matasmiti jnanam apohanam cha. Quote, I am seated in everyone's heart, and from me come remembrance, knowledge, and forgetfulness. End quote. Therefore, although the Lord is present everywhere, he cannot be seen with ordinary eyes. As Aryama says, the Lord is Anupalakshita Sthana. No one can locate him. This is the greatness of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This is the greatness of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Prabhupada ki jai. Om Jnana Timirandasya Gyananjana Salakaya Chakshur Anmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Mano Bhiktam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamaya Dadati Swapadantika Pandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavam Shah Shri Rupam Sakachatan Sagana Raghunatam Pitam Tam Sajivam Sarvetam Sarvadutam Vijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Vitamscha Panchakalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasudeva Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ramo Ramo Hare Hare. Okay, so here in this verse, a lot that can be pulled out even just from this translation to the verse. So the first line says, "O my Lord, I offer my respectful obeisance unto you, who have assumed the form of a tortoise. You are the reservoir of all transcendental qualities, and being entirely untinged by matter, you are perfectly situated in pure goodness." So Sudha Sattva, pure goodness. So we all know there's three different modes of material nature. Goodness, starting from the bottom up, ignorance, passion, and goodness. And very interestingly, one devotee said, this devotee does quite a bit of kind of like talking outside of the devotee community to like corporations and things like that. And he was saying that we have such a valuable thing to actually give to the world, is the knowledge of these three modes of material nature. Because how relevant is it, and how people always think about these things, but then they might come up with their own theories about them, but it's like so in our scriptures, it's so clearly laid out, these three modes of nature, and how pretty much what the best mode of nature to be in is, and what are the downsides of acting under another nature. Because as it's said, every action that one performs is under these modes of nature, of course, unless one transcends. So the three modes of material nature, so here it's saying that Krishna in the form of a tortoise is actually in the state of Sudha Sattva, which is pure goodness. So there's actually even the mode of goodness. Of course, we know we'd be great to get to the mode of goodness, but even in the mode of goodness, even in the mode of goodness, there's some limitations. Or maybe a better way to say is it's not the best thing. It's like if you're in a prison, okay, you upgraded from bronze shackles, now you have gold shackles, congratulations. But as we know, you're still in the prison. So so the mode of goodness is like that. You're still encaged, although it's just maybe a little more comfortable and favorable. So there are downsides even to this mode of goodness. So in, I believe it's the 14th chapter, Prabhupada's explaining that, Prabhupada explains in a purport how, because those in the mode of goodness, they're generally like, have some kind of more sense of happiness in this world. They have greater knowledge. To explain one in the mode of goodness, he's able to see things as they are. All the senses are illuminated by knowledge. I thought that was always interesting. Like all your different senses are seeing things in the right way. So you're seeing things correctly, you're smelling things correctly, you're feeling things correctly. So very nice, sounds very nice, but there is also downsides to this mode of pure goodness even. And that's because one in that state, he becomes kind of proud of those attributes, Srila Prabhupada explains. So thinking, I'm quite happy in this world, or I have a lot of knowledge, like there's this saying, right? The smartest guy in the room. Sometimes if you're the smartest guy in the room, you like have some kind of false sense of prestige. So this is actually quite dangerous because it can actually entangle one in the material world, thinking, yeah, I'm very comfortable, and then repeatedly, okay, then one will just, what does that lead to? Okay, one will repeatedly take birth again and again, you know. So yeah, mode of goodness is not the all in all, and as the famous saying goes, that even on the royal road, there are dangers even on the royal road. So even even on the nicest roads, there's still dangers. That's like the mode of goodness. So a great example of this was in the story of Ajamil, who of course Ajamil was in the Bhagavatam 6th canto. He was raised as a very highly qualified Brahmana, and grew up studying the scriptures and all that, and married a very nice qualified wife, and things were looking good for him, for Ajamil. And then what happened? Yeah, as we know, he was going down the street, and then he saw the sight of a prostitute and a man like engage in some kissing activities or something, which nowadays, of course, is no one would think twice of. It's just normal Kali Yuga scenery. But in these times, it was quite rare, and still, even though we do see it quite often, maybe become a little desensitized to it, it still is definitely contaminating to the mind. So anyways, he saw this sight, and then he was just it just stuck in his mind. And the sight of this woman and this man, engaging in some kind of intimate activities, intimate romantic activities. So yeah, he started to contemplate, and eventually then he actually pursued this lady, I believe she was a prostitute. He actually pursued her, and anyways, then everything was thrown away. His life was pretty much ruined. So it's a nice, well, not nice for us that we can learn from, but of course, for Ajamil was very tragic situation, because just by this one little contemplation, just by seeing this, and it was actually even described that upon seeing this sight, he was after he was trying to just remember all the Vedic injunctions that he'd learned about, and all the sacred mantras, and that he had learned to kind of try to counteract this vision, but still this impression was just too strong in his mind. And so we know Bhagavad Gita, one of the very, very important and instructive verse. From contemplation of the objects of the senses comes lust and attachment, and then comes anger. So just by first contemplating, then lust comes, and you become attached and all that. So seems like such a simple thing, but as the saying goes, curiosity killed the cat. So Ajamil, his life, just havoc was played on his life because of this. And as explained, he had a wonderful wife, wonderful life, wonderful wife. But just, now he had this thought in his mind. Then he pursued this prostitute, because it left his family, left his wife, and then just, started stealing and doing all sorts of abominable activities to maintain this wife and keep her happy. You know, this wife being the prostitute. So it's sorry. So it's amazing, yeah. Just see, you know, how his spiritual life is so delicate like this. And of course, we know that Prabhupada says it's like a razor's edge. So one has to, when one is shaving, one has to be, yeah, very careful, you know. Because one can, yeah, easily one little inattentive move, and one can cut oneself. So this is yeah, spiritual life is like this, very very kind of sensitive, I guess I'm gonna say. Yeah. Yeah, so one has to be very, because we can see, look at what happened to Ajamil. So similarly in our life, everything can actually be thrown away just in a few months. Of course, things are never lost, Gita says. You know, there is no loss or diminution. But we can, you know, we can delay our advancement and go through a lot of suffering before we kind of go back to the spiritual assets that we had. So very instructive, this story of Ajamil. And just to not lose the point that I was initially trying to make is that, yeah, here's someone situated in the mode of goodness. But mode of goodness without bhakti is, like I said, just, you know, gold shackles. Okay, gold shackles. You might be in the prison cell, you might have some gold shackles, and I don't know. Yeah, the other prisoners might say, look at whatever might let you cut in line or something. You might whatever, but you're still in the prison. That's the point. So without bhakti, then one is one. Yeah, all this is pointless. Yeah, boldly I can, like Krishna tells Arjuna to boldly declare. So I'm boldly declaring it, and I feel confident to say, without bhakti, everything is useless. So yeah, it's like, what was this example I recently heard? It's like driving in a car with a flat tire. No, because even that still getting somewhere. Anyway, some nice example I heard about how okay, maybe you could say like it's like taking a class but not being enrolled in it. You know, you're still you're taking the class, but if you're not enrolled, then you're not getting the credits. Something like that. Anyways, there's probably much better examples. So yeah, bhakti is the essential aspect. And just what is that? What is that kind of practically? How can we apply that? Is that, yeah, in this material world, we're never going to achieve material perfection. You know, it's Kali Yuga, things are very degraded. So we might have these expectations of, oh yeah, I just want to live, you know, this wonderful life, or I just want to like perfect my health. I just want to, you know, have the biggest biceps. I just want to, whatever, you know, have a wonderful career. I just want to have the greatest family. And the thing is, it's Kali Yuga. We should humble ourselves and realize that Kali Yuga means swimming upstream. To get anything done means swimming upstream. So these things aren't going to come very easily. And if these pursuits are actually taking us away from our spiritual life, then it's just okay. I thought of a good example. Not example I thought of, but example Prabhupada gives is beating the husk of corn and not getting the corn. Wait, I don't know. What's that example? Yeah, beating the husk of corn, I guess. I guess if there's no corn inside and you're just beating it, then it's kind of pointless. So yeah, we can't try to perfect the material side of our life in a way that's going to take us away from our spiritual life. I think is another lesson that can be had through this concept of goodness versus pure goodness. Okay, so another point in the translation here: you move here and there in water, but no one can discern your position. Therefore, I offer my respectful obeisance to you. Because of your transcendental position, you are not limited by past, present, and future. You are present everywhere as the okay. So the Lord's form is not limited by past, present, and future. So yeah, this time is well, I've heard, yeah, from my Guru Maharaj, it's time is delivering everything to us. So time is delivering good things and bad things. So this time factor, yeah, it's very significant. And you see the Lord, yeah, the Lord not being affected by time is actually very significant, because yeah, how much we might not realize it, but time is such a big factor in our lives. Not just like I need to be on time, but like time is the deliverer. So if we have something pleasurable, it's only a matter of time, right? That's how the saying goes. It's only a matter of time before that thing is lost. So that's the temporary nature of this world. So we might have the best thing ever. We might, feel like, oh wow, I'm just in the best situation right now. This whatever this eating this nicest food right now. But it's ultimately because of time. It's gonna go away. Yeah, it's gonna finish like that. So time is the order carrier of our karma. So it's a profound concept. My realization of that is not so deep, but just imagine, yeah, the Lord's form is not bound by time. With time comes old age, right? No one wants that. Everyone wants to have this youthful body, and what is the Lord? The Lord is, yeah, when Krishna is here, he never ages past 16. He always looks like, even though he's like 125, he never looks past the age of 16. So imagine that. That's amazing that the Lord is not limited by past, present, or future. And then this last sentence: you are present everywhere as the shelter of all things, and therefore I offer my respectful obeisance to you again and again. So the Lord, yeah, is the shelter of all things. So we see, so we see that I feel like it's time for a funny story. I've been kind of telling a lot of philosophical things, but no funny stories are coming to mind, unfortunately. But yeah, so the Lord is present as the shelter of all things, and therefore I offer my respectful obeisance to you. So it's amazing to think, right? The Lord is actually within each atom. Nothing is actually functioning without the presence of the Lord. Bhagavad Gita tells us, Mata, and okay, I love this analogy in Bhagavad Gita. this just kind of paints such a nice picture. Mata parataram nanya kinchi asti dhananjaya mai sarvam idam pratam sutegana maya iva. So the Lord is, pull up the translation. Okay, I lost it. Okay, anyways, the last line of this verse says how the Lord is everything rests on the Lord as pearls are strung on a thread. So we know, okay, if you have a necklace of pearls, of course, I don't personally have one, but if you have that and then you just pull out the string from the middle, then right, all the pearls just fall down. So we can think that the whole creation is actually just happening based on the presence of the Lord as a string. Suttigana maya iva. As we know, you look up in the sky, or just look down and see this huge earth that we're all on. Somehow this earth is being just lifted up in the sky. It's just totally inconceivable. Like, how heavy is this earth? And somehow it's being lifted up. Okay, gravity, yeah, laws of gravity, but my God, it's for such a heavy figure to be up in the air like that, maintained. It's so I think Prabhupada says this is like Lord Balaram Shakti's holding up all these planets. So the Lord is within all things, and without his presence, everything would just, you can imagine just like everything crumbling to dust, That's like what would happen without the presence of the Lord. So we can think like that, first of all, it's a good way to remember Krishna, is that, okay, everything is actually being maintained by the mercy of the Lord, by the Lord's all-pervading energy in this form of Kshirodakshai Vishnu in the heart, in Kshirodakshai Vishnu, form of the Lord, which was within every single atom. And as it's saying here, yeah, he's the shelter of all things. Okay, before I say that, so one time I was with this guy. I was kind of just coming around the devotees. Yeah, I just started to associate with the devotees, and I was with this acquaintance, and he was a physics student, PhD or something, and he had this tattoo, and it looked like kind of like a graph, like a line graph. So I was asking, like, what is this tattoo all about? And he said, this tattoo explains how, of course, Kalsrupa would explain this nicely. The tattoo was explaining how the whole universe is on the verge of destruction at every moment. Like, somehow, whatever, somehow if you graph like the movement of the atoms, something, I don't know what you graph, but somehow or other the whole universe is constantly on the state of just completely, going into obliteration. But then somehow that graph comes back up. Then some time goes and it goes down close to and obliterate, and then comes up. And somehow or other, because I had I was reading Bhagavad Gita, and it was kind of engaging in the process of purification, taking prasadam, associated with devotees. This point just hit me so hard that there must be some kind of controller that's making sure that the whole universe isn't just crushing. So I remember this point, this explanation, this explanation of a tattoo, right? That's interesting guru, the tattoo guru. tattoo as your guru. But yeah, it really, it was a profound kind of experience realizing this, connecting these things, that how yeah, the Lord is maintaining the whole universe. And because of that maintenance of the Lord, yeah, we as it said here, we can take shelter of the Lord. So if the Lord is everywhere, then the Lord is everywhere, then yeah, why not take shelter of him? Like I remember when I grew up I was born, I don't know if the movies know, I was actually born in Honduras. My mom was in Peace Corps, and my mom's American, my dad's Honduran. So my mom was in Peace Corps, so she was down there. And yeah, that's how she met my dad. And so I grew up there the first 5 years of my life before coming to great land of America. And so we had a guard, like we had this guard at the end of our block, and he was there every day. I think his name was Paco. Yeah, he kind of, thinking about it now, he like, one of his legs was like practically disabled. Like he was pretty old, just had a machete, and couldn't walk very well. So I don't know what protection he was going to give, but he did kind of have like this kind of like raw demeanor. Like you wouldn't want to mess with this guy. At the same time, you could probably get away from him just by like a casual speed walk. Anyways, so Paco's there, and you feel some shelter with the guard there. So you feel some kind of comfort that, okay, yeah, the guard is around, therefore I kind of feel shelter. So what to speak of, and then when he's not around, then you might feel like a little shaky. Oh my God, I don't know what's going to happen. Paco's not here. So what to speak of? Yeah, the Lord is actually within every single atom. How much shelter can be had there? How secure can we actually feel there? And where is this exemplified? Prahlad Maharaj, right? Prahlad Maharaj's father was about to kill him. And then, and Prahlad saw, of course, Prahlad wasn't scared in the slightest because he was a fully surrendered devotee of the Lord. And what's he's seeing in this pillar, he's actually seeing that Krishna is right in the Shingadev, Krishna in the form of Nrsingadev is in this pillar, like, showing Prahlad, like these holograph cards you have sometimes, it like flips from like a whatever something to like an animal. So I guess it was kind of like that. So he's seen this pillar, he's seen like the Lord kind of like popping out of the pillar and then going back. And then yeah, so then Pops was like, okay, Harnikashvili was like, okay, Prahlad, is he in, I'm gonna prove to you that there's no God, because is God in this pillar right here? And then, as we know, struck the pillar, and boy, did he regret it. So yeah, so the Lord is actually, the Lord is everywhere and is actually waiting to give us shelter, waiting to give us protection. Of course, might not have a half man, half lion form come out, but that shelter could come in different ways. It's the mysticism of bhakti. And we've all had experiences of this. Oh my God, how is this going to happen? How am I going to do this? How is this going to, and somehow the Lord comes through and saves our butt. So last point I wanted to make, if I don't have too many haters out there that are just tired of hearing me talk, is that, okay, yeah. So in the purport, which I haven't even spoken about yet, this point is being made that the Lord is the Lord is in his abode, in his special spiritual sky. At the same time, he is all pervading, like even in this material realm, he's all pervading. So Prabhupada says, this paradox is only possible for this Supreme Personality of Godhead who's full of all opulences. So there's a verse, Isha Upanishad, Tad Dejati Tad Nai Jati Tad Dure Tadvantike Tarantarasya Sarvasya Tad Sarvasyasya Vayaha. The Supreme Lord walks and does not walk. He is far away, but he is near as well. He is within everything, and yet he is outside of everything. This verse is like all these contradictions, right? He's within everything, okay, I can kind of wrap my head around that. But he's outside of everything, okay, what? He walks, but he does not walk. He is far away, but he is near as well, like, yeah. It's an interesting verse, very interesting verse. Probably not the verse you want to speak about to a brand new audience. So the Lord is inconceivable, and what I wanted to say about this is that the Lord can do these things because of his greatness, as Prabhupada says. This serves to indicate his inconceivable power. Like one aspect of this, like the Lord is known as formless, right? Okay, how do I bridge this? So the Lord, there's these contradictions, but it's actually said, we were reading one purport recently that Krishna, there actually is no contradictions in Krishna. It's only actually our limited ability that we actually perceive these contradictions. So like I remember there's a story, I believe Vishnu Chan, some devotee asked Vishnu Chan Maharaj that, Prabhupada said, I don't remember exactly the quote, but Prabhupada said this here, and then he said something that seems completely different another time. So one devotee was asking Vishnu Chan Maharaj, like, I'm a little confused about this. And Maharaj just said, it's both, like with full confidence. And then later they found out, like when, devotees started, maturing in bhakti and finding out more and, reading more, then they found out that, it was actually totally explainable, these two seeming contradictions. So another seeming contradiction, this example, kind of attests to our limited ability, and sometimes in bhakti, we hear some things that might not be able to fully wrap our mind around, but that's okay. That's totally okay, because we're trying to understand something so large, inconceivable with our limited intelligence. It's like the example, like if there's ants on the ground and you start telling the ants like about the upcoming presidential election, they don't know. They just like, of course, if you maybe really try to instruct the ant, no, I don't think you could teach an ant about the presidential election, but we are enlightened by the Vedas. So even though we do have limited knowledge, then we're enlightened by the Vedas. So the Lord, he's known as formless, but also we know that the Lord actually does have a form. Yeah, so that's one verse that we see, right? That might exemplify this is like, oh, the Lord is formless. And then we know that, like I just heard an initiation lecture, and someone got a name that referred to the limbs of the Lord. So limbs usually indicate a form. But we know that, yeah, on further knowledge, that we know that, no, it's not that he doesn't have a form, it's that he has no material form. The Lord has no material form. Yeah, his form is completely, completely spiritual. So, so with this form of the Lord, so even though the form of the Lord is not material, still, by the mercy of the Lord, he has given us this archa vigraha form, the form of the deity. And how wonderful is it? Because it's like, just to worship something, but you don't really know about, like, what does it look like? What does it do? What can I do for it? So it's a little tough. But the Bhakti Yoga process has this one of the processes of devotional service is archana, worshiping the Lord. So this form of the Lord, so merciful, it comes and takes, what with impure vision seems to be like metal, gold, metal, wood. Actually, even one of the bona fide forms of the Lord is on sand, apparently. Yeah, that's bona fide worshipable form of the Lord. And he takes these forms for us to worship. So how wonderful that is. And that's why it's explained that for the beginning devotee, this deity worship is very essential. And I heard something so nicely. It was these Gurukul boys, and they were explaining about I think the question was, why do we have these forms of the Lord? Why do we do deity worship if chanting is the Yuga Dharma? Chanting Hare Krishna, names of the Lord, is the Yuga Dharma, is the prescribed method of worship in this day and age. So the thing is, this deity worship helps because by default we'll go to the by default, we're all impersonalists. Can say that. We tend to go towards impersonalism with our family, our friends. We kind of just want to like ignore their personalness. So that might also happen in our chanting. We might be chanting the Maha Mantra, but we might forget that actually these are the names of a person. So now, if you have deities that's like clearly like this, looks like a person, Radha Damodar, clear. One wouldn't be hard pressed to think like, be able to identify that. Yeah, this looks like a young boy and girl. But yeah, so one can see that's a person. So this deity worship is so nice in that it reminds us of this and lets us actually practice devotion to a person. So yeah, it's very nice, and that wasn't a place that wasn't said out of a desire for devotees to come help with the deity worship. It just ties into this verse about how the Lord is beyond contradictions. Okay, so thank you very much. Thank you all very much. I'm very happy to have this opportunity to speak some Bhagavatam, and if anyone has any questions or comments, I'd like to welcome them now. Again, thank you very much for your attendance and attention.
Hare Krishna. Wonderful, wonderful class today. The way that you were explaining the personal stories of your guard Paku, and how when yes, and how when we have that guard with us and we're aware of it in every single cell, then there's a lot more peace. So that's a great connection that you made.
Thank you. Yeah. I have to admit, I have to be vulnerable here and say how when I was staying at Rivers. Well, thank you. Why? I don't know if all the devotees have been introduced to why, but why is a new resident here coming from Atlanta. So thank you. Why? I'm sorry if you've already been introduced to this online sangha. But yeah, anyway, okay. Anyways, yeah, I was staying at this riverside, this cabin at the river, and it's just dark and no one's around. It's quite scary, but just thinking, it was comforting me to just think, whatever happens, I know we don't really get bears here, no predators, but if one does come out and get me, at least I'm engaging in devotional service. And, I can say I tried my best. I wasn't like doing some materialistic nonsense. I was engaged in the Lord's service. Therefore, if I die, so be it. Anyways, just a little slight story on that. But I hope we do get. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you for the encouragement. Okay. Anyone else has anything to add, they can.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Taraka Prabhu. Thank you for that. Hare Krishna.
Want to thank you for another nice class. Once again, you've covered a lot of territory. It's always fun and engaging to listen to. We actually do have there's at least one bear that does wander along the ridge.
I didn't.
And the devotees have encountered him from time to time. He's never been a problem to anybody, but he's there. If you go far back on the ridge, you'll see his claw marks on the trees. He claws the bark, and I have an idea of where his den is, but that's further back off of our property. But devotees have occasionally run into him walking back on the ridge. I have a question which I'm not sure you would be able to help me with this. I'm curious to understand. Srila Prabhupada mentions in the end of his purport, he makes reference to Aryama or Aryama. He says, as Aryama says, the Lord is Anupalakshita Sthana. No one can locate him. And I looked around a little bit. I could not find where Aryama makes that statement. I have no idea where that comes from, but that's my question. I'm wondering, where that came from. I don't know whether you took any time to look into that, but Aryama, of course, is he's the presiding deity of Pitraloka,
Mhm.
and he is mentioned quite a bit in Srimad Bhagavatam for that reason, and also because he assumed the post of Yamaraj during the period of time when Yamaraj incarnated as Vidura, which is a whole story. But so during the lifetime of Vidura, roughly 100 years, Aryama assumed the responsibilities of Yamaraj. He is he's one of the 12 Adityas who are the sons of Aditi. So he's a son of Kashyapa and Kashyapa Muni and Aditi. So he's quite a powerful personality. But I have no idea where he makes this statement that Srila Prabhupada mentions. And so if you have any idea about that, I'd love to hear that. Otherwise, I don't really have any other question or anything to add. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yeah, sorry. I don't know where this quote from Aryama is. I'm just trying to find I think in the Bhagavad Gita, Aryama is mentioned, 11th chapter. Does anyone know if Aryama is, I feel like he's in this 11th chapter. Or sorry, 10th chapter. Wait, 10th chapter? Yeah, 10th chapter. Okay. Well, all I can say about Aryama. Okay, so here's just deepen our knowledge about Aryama. Bhagavad Gita 10:29. Of the many hooded Nagas, I am Ananta, and among the aquatics, I'm the demigod Vruna. Of departed ancestors, I am Aryama, and among dispensers of law, I am Yama, the Lord of Death. So Aryama is apparently a great departed ancestor. Okay, that makes sense why you were saying Pitri Loka, because that's that's where the descendants go. And then in the purport, Prabhupada says, there is a planet of Pita's ancestors presided over by Aryama, who represents Krishna. Okay, cool. So a little nice fact for the day everyone can take home, put in their knowledge bank account, is that Aryama is the presiding deity of Pitriloka, where the ancestors go. And that is represented as Krishna, because Krishna is represented as all the most wonderful things. Okay, so thank you all very much. Yes. Hope everyone has a wonderful Krishna conscious day. Hare Krishna. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.